Ron Scott Griffin. Great to talk to you again. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. You're live out there now. Before you tell us about the par three and what's going on, I think a lot of people are very surprised at Phil and Tiger playing yesterday. I'm going to guess you kind of knew of their friendship warming again. What can you tell us about that?
Well, I think it's a reflection of the sort of the different Tiger Woods we're seeing out there now. I think he's come back from this latest rash of injuries and everything with a greater appreciation for how lucky he is to be doing what he's doing out there. And Tiger was always the kind of person who did not want to be friends with people he viewed as competitors. And Phil was certainly one of those. I remember when they played together in the 2005 Ryder Cup, Hal Sutton paired them together in alternate shot, and Nicholson tried to make the relationship work, and Tiger had no interest in it. And the Tiger I've seen this year in his return seems to be happier on the golf course. He's smiling more. He's interacting with the fans more. He's swearing less. It's just he's a different person, and the fact that he chose to play this practice round with Phil is really a great example of that.
And I think it's very cool, and it's good that Phil was the recipient of that and willing to do it too after their earlier relationship.
Yeah, Phil is a much more social person than Tiger. He always is. He is with everybody, and I also think that Phil is he's a very bright guy, and he knows this is good for the game. And having Tiger back in the mix is good for the game. And look, the one thing we were denied in the Tiger Woods era, we never had a great Sunday shootout in a major between Woods and Mickelson. And it would just be incredibly awesome if it happened now at the age of 47 for Mickelson and 42 for Woods. And I think that Phil's aware that he and Tiger are probably still the two most popular players in the game.
I don't think there's any doubt about it. And that's not a far-fetched conception, is it? Phil has played well. Tiger has, well, there's a lot of guys playing well, but both of those have certainly played well heading into this Masters, right?
Yeah, this is my 29th Masters, and I don't know if I ever come into one with as many people who I felt have a chance to win. This is really wide open. You look at all the people who are on their game, starting from Bubba Watson, who's won here twice and been playing well lately, and Jordan Spieth, Justin Thomas, Rory McIlroy, Justin Rose, Sergio Garcia, Tommy Fleetwood. There's just so many people who could walk away with a trophy, and to have all that talent and then throw Woods and Nicholson into the mix gives it a vibe that's just truly unusual. It's one of the more anticipated Masters we've had in quite a while.
And it seems like you're certainly the expert, but it seems like every year there's some recognizable names. There's always one guy that you scratch your head about that plays well. Then there's always a veteran. There's a Tom Watson or a Greg Norman or a Jack Nicklaus that seems to hang around until day four. Fred Couples has done it a few times. It's a very interesting tournament.
Yeah, it is. It's become harder for the older guys to stay relevant here because the course has gotten so much longer. It used to be the kind of course that you could get by on local knowledge and wits and shot making, and now you still need a significant amount of power. But because the technology of the game is also such that some 47-year-old Phil Mickelson is very much a factor here. And but there is so much young talent out there now, and one of the fascinating things that we're going to see. Look, the next hurdle for Tiger is when he gets into contention. How does he handle being in contention? Because it's been 5 years since he's won a tournament, 10 years since he's won a major, 13 years since he's won a Masters, and there's a whole generation of players out here right now. All those 20-somethings have never seen the real Tiger Woods. And they don't have the same scar tissue build up around their confidence that the previous generation had. I saw Tiger psychologically destroy an entire generation of players because they realized that Tiger had his A game. They were playing for second place. These kids don't feel that way. They feel they can win and they can beat them, and they're just like saying, "Bring it on."
I understand when he was playing with Freddie 2 days ago and Justin Thomas, and then yesterday with Phil Mickelson and Freddie. that the galleries were 25 deep. Is that right? I'm sure you were out there following them a while, but
it looked like a Saturday at the Masters. You know, it was amazing. That first off, you know, for the practice rounds here, they let in more people than they let in for the competition rounds. So there are a lot of people on property, and everybody wants to see Tiger. You know, the demise of Tiger Woods was, in my mind, as fascinating as the rise of Tiger Woods. And now the return of Tiger Woods has a chance to be as compelling as either of those first two stories.
So talk a little bit about Justin Thomas, who's been as hot as anybody, the PGA Player of the Year. He belies his size with his length. He's also learned how to score when he's not on his game. He seems to be evolving nicely.
Yeah, you know, that's the high school class of 2011. Jordan Spieth, Daniel Berger, Justin Thomas, all
Unreal.
coming in, and they've all inspired each other. You know, Spieth came out of college a year after his freshman year, and Berger and Justin Thomas stayed in school, and they saw Jordan Spieth starting to win golf tournaments, and they said, "Holy cow, we beat this guy in college, and he's winning on the pro tour. So why don't we turn pro too?" And Justin has shown, and this is the other thing that Tiger taught these young kids, which is to have the confidence that they can win at an early age, and they all do believe they can win.
Ron Sirak, our guest for a few minutes here, Golf Digest, formerly AP, the foremost golf analyst in the country as far as my money is concerned. Do you have to be playing well to enter, to be in the Masters conversation just because it's so mentally taxing? Or have you seen guys not playing well come in and do well?
Well, I remember being here in 1995, and Ben Crenshaw came in, and there was nothing in his form to suggest that he would be a contender, and he came in and won. You never know with these guys when all the pieces are gonna fall in place. The one thing you need to be doing well here to win is you got to be putting well, because you're going to get a lot of 5-foot par-saving putts on this golf course. It's the game around the green is what Augusta's all about. It helps to have that confidence that you're coming in, and there are several people right now. I have to say, Justin Thomas, Rory McIlroy, Bubba Watson are all coming in feeling pretty good about their game. Tiger's got to be feeling, and Mickelson's got to be feeling pretty good about their game. Dustin Johnson had a rough match play tournament. But he's been, over the last 2 years, probably the best player in the world. So there's a lot of people who have reason to be confident coming in here.
I would think that this course, with all the undulations and the curvatures, not only on the holes itself, but obviously on the greens, practice rounds are really critical to trying to get a feel. Are they not? More so than a normal tournament on PGA?
Yeah, Nick Faldo had the best analysis of that, and I remember him telling me 20 years ago, he said, you know, Augusta National's seductive. It's got wide fairways and big greens. But when you're standing on the tee, you need to know you can only use a third of the fairway. You've got to be on the right third of it that you need to be on. And you look at the greens, and they're big, but you only need to be on about a quarter of the green. You know, you've got to be on the right quadrant of the green. And his line was, there's a route to get around Augusta. You got to find it and follow it, and that's the challenge here. It looks like a wide open golf course, but you really got to figure out the right angles to the hole locations, and you got to leave yourself in the right place on the greens. These are the kind of greens where a 30-foot uphill putt's better than a 10-foot downhill putt.
That's insane. And aren't they pretty consistent though year to year with the cup placements, especially on Sunday, or no?
They're not only consistent with the hole locations, but they're also consistent with the green speeds, because every green has a sub-air drying system underneath it, and no matter how much rain they get, they can make the greens run at whatever speed they want them to run at. And they even have sub-air drying under some parts of the fairways now, so they can really control the speed of this golf course. There is absolutely no venue in golf in which the people who set up the tournament have as much of a influence on the way the course is playing as they do here at Augusta National.
And so the course knowledge is still key. The more you play, obviously.
Yeah. You know, and that's why I remember in '97 when Tiger won here in his first major as a pro. I didn't think he would win. I didn't think he was one of the favorites because I thought Augusta National was the kind of golf course that you got to learn how to win there. You got to learn how to play your way around it. But Tiger's that special best person and he did shoot 40 his first 9 holes, but he came back and shot 30 the next 9 holes and ended up setting the tournament record 18 under par that week. But this is a thinker's golf course and a shot maker's golf course. You got to know the best angles of attack, and then you got to be able to put your ball in that position so you leave yourself those good angles of attack.
It's amazing thing. Do you have a most impressive moment you've seen in 29 years? One that stands out? That's probably a stupid question, but I'm sure there's a handful. But is there one that's special to you and you went, wow? Nicholas maybe winning at 46 or something.
Well, I'll tell you that what astounded me was 3 years in a row. In '95 was that Ben Crenshaw winning, and I thought this is going to be the best story I'm ever going to see at a golf tournament. The next year was Faldo Norman, where Norman had the 6-stroke lead going to the final round, and Nick Faldo shot an absolutely brilliant 67 to win. And I thought, wow, I'm never going to see a better tournament than that. And then the next year, Tiger Woods, 21 years old, came in and wins by 12 strokes and overwhelmed the field. And in less than a year as a pro, established himself as the best player on the planet. And I thought, wow, I'm never going to see a better tournament than that. So this place has a way of producing magical moments. But to me, those 3 right in a row happening on consecutive years was the best stretch of golf that I've seen here.
A question I love to ask, but I never ask you, is what keeps you getting out of bed every day to do what you do and do it so well? But I know the answer since you've been doing this for 29 years and you're at the Masters on this gorgeous day writing about golf. There's so many people listening right now that are jealous of you. It's probably not funny.
Well, overall, it's my 158th major, men and women's combined. And the great thing about covering golf is that it's never the same, and you never know what you're going to see. I always say that golf is a skill that's rented; it's not owned. You never own the game. You only what you have today. I have this one teacher that I wrote books for. She likes to say, you always got to ask yourself when you step on the first tee, okay, who am I today? And then figure out how to win. That's, I look at Rory McIlroy, and what astounds me about him is I think when he's got his A game, he's the best player in the world, but he hasn't figured how to win when he doesn't have his A game. Tiger won with less than his A game all the time. Great champions know how to win when they don't have their best stuff. It's like a great pitcher in baseball. They can figure out how to win even when they don't have their good stuff. And Rory hasn't figured that out yet. But that's what I love about golf is that it's a different challenge every day out here.
Final question. I alluded that Justin has figured that out. Do you agree with that? And kind of talk about what you see from him.
From Justin Thomas or Justin which?
Justin Thomas. Sorry, where he's kind of learned how to win or at least be competitive even when his A game's not around.
I totally agree with that. I think that he is he's a real grinder out there, and you got to be, Spieth's the grinder out there. Spieth won when he won his Masters. He won it with his A game, but when he won the U.S. Open, he won it with his B game. But Justin Thomas is going to be somebody who is going to be a very, very consistent winner, and we haven't seen the last of him winning major championships.